بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. Okay, ولله الحمد, we have reached the third chapter, الوحدة الثالثة. Alright, before we begin, there was a request to explain the use of the Arabic for all. The Arabic for all, this is a website that, walillah alhamd, is connected to the book. As you can see, this is the same book that we're using right here on the screen. Let's make sure on the, yeah, cool. So this here is essentially all the audio files that is related to the book. Those audio files are those conversations that we hear or that I read, right? Those conversations that I read, they're right here. They would have some exams that will be coming from this as well, so you can listen to them to better your listening abilities, right? So for example, right now we're on وحدة الثالثة. وحدة, al-wahda means the unit, right? So if you look here on the beginning, the top, you see the word al-wahda. الوحدة الأولى, الوحدة الثانية, الوحدة الثالثة, right? So these are the units that we are using. So for example, the last unit we were using was الوحدة الثانية. So I will press الوحدة الثانية right here, right? By pressing that, now I have access to the durus at the bottom. Those الدرس الأول, or rather here الدرس العاشر. Okay, for ease, what I will do, I will use the wahda that we're going to start today, so that way we could use the time wisely. So we're on al-wahdatu thalitha, so I pick al-wahdatu thalitha, and ad-dars tisata ashar, at-tasiyata ashar, ad-dars at-tasiyata ashar, which means 19th dars. Okay, so now going to the file, the actual book, we could see here, it says right here at the top, al-wahdatu thalitha. You see in a 3, right? And we see in ad-dars at-tasiyata ashar, right? That means that this is the dars that's connected to that audio file. So I go back to the website. This here, ad-dars at-tasiyata ashar. You see that tile is highlighted there. And you see right here it says al-hiwar al-awwal. Al-hiwar al-awwal, as we know, al-hiwar means conversation. Al-awwal means the first. So the first conversation. Then I press play.
الوحدة الثالثة. السكن. الدرس التاسع عشر.
Alright.
الحوار الأول. انظر واستمع.
Just let me play.
السلام عليكم.
Let's go to the
وعليكم السلام.
Let me pause it.
أين تسكن؟
So this is the here as well.
الوحدة الثالثة. السكن. الدرس التاسع عشر.
Look at the conversation here.
الحوار الأول. انظر واستمع. السلام عليكم. وعليكم السلام. أين تسكن؟ أسكن في حي المطار. وأين تسكن أنت؟ أسكن في حي الجامعة. هل تسكن في بيت؟ نعم، أسكن في بيت. وهل تسكن في بيت؟ لا، أسكن في شقة. ما رقم شقتك؟ 5. وما رقم بيتك؟ 9. والآن جاء دورك.
We're not actually hearing anything, eh?
We're not hearing anything? Subhanallah. Alright, alright, play it. I'll play it again. You play it. Alright, just alright, that'll be nice to
الوحدة الثالثة.
listen here and right?
السكن.
You hearing it now?
الدرس التاسع
Yeah.
عشر.
Alright, cool.
الحوار الأول.
Alright, go back.
انظر واستمع. السلام عليكم. وعليكم السلام. أين تسكن؟ أسكن في حي المطار. وأين تسكن أنت؟ أسكن في حي الجامعة. هل تسكن في بيت؟ نعم أسكن في بيت. وهل تسكن في بيت؟ لا، أسكن في شقة. ما رقم شقتك؟ 5. وما رقم بيتك؟ 9.
Alright.
والآن جاء دورك.
So essentially that is the how you use the audios. So you will look at the file. For example, right now we're on so one of the brothers, he was trying to get the other audios, but I believe he was on unit 1 still, so that's why he wasn't getting any more. So you have to change the unit first. You have to go on, when you go onto the website, you see the first set of tiles there, the first set of blocks there is showing al-wahdat, and it's in 1, and it's in al-wahdatu, and it's in 2, and it's in al-wahda, and it's in 3. Right now we're on wahda 3, al-wahdatu thalitha. Okay, and then afterwards you go down to the tiles below, and you can get all the audios that relate to that unit or chapter, chapter 3. All right. So essentially that's for that. So alhamdulillah, the audio basically did the how it's supposed to sound. So what I'll do now, I'll just explain what the conversation was about. All right, so this is a حوار بين الأحمد والحسان. All right, بين الأحمر والحسان. Bayna means between. All right, so Ahmed, assalamu alaikum, Hassan wa alaikum assalam. Right, as tahiyya, as we know. Ahmed, aina taskun. So we know the word aina already. We know the word aina, but the new word we have here is taskun. All right, and if you see it, you could tell there's a dhamma at the end. So taskunu. This is a new verb. All right. So if you have your book, you have your notebook, what you should be doing essentially is one page of your notebook should have just nouns. Just nouns. Okay, so like for example, the nouns that we have learned so far, like for example, walid, walida, jed, jedda, bayt, madrasa, stuff like that. Those are nouns, right? Those are asma or ism, right? Asma or ism. Ism in Arabic, which is nouns. Ism also means name, but in this case, linguistically, for grammatical things, is known as nouns. Then we have af'al. Af'al, which are verbs. Af'al, which are verbs. So you can just put the word verbs. You don't have to worry about the word af'al for now, because you'll get into that. I would separate that for its own thing when you get into verbs and teach your verbs. Because verbs do get a bit complicated, so that'll have to be its own thing outside of this book. So this is the new verb that we have here, teskunu. And from the only thing I told you about verbs so far is that pay attention to the beginning of the verb. The beginning of the verb tells you what, if we speak into a male or a female, right? Or speaking about myself, or we saying we, or we saying they, right? Just like in Spanish, reason I use in Spanish so much is because, unfortunately, in English we don't really have that. You could just use the one verb, and that verb it kind of is actually fortunate in one sense, because like it makes it very easy to convey and to learn. But with regard to Arabic and other languages, they have conjugation of the verbs. So we have teskunu. Aina teskunu, right? Teskunu come from the word sakan, sakana, which means to reside. So where do you reside, right? Aina teskunu. Aina teskunu. And notice that we have the ta in the front here. That ta means that I'm speaking to you, right? I'm speaking to you, male. I'm speaking to you, male. This ta in the front here, this ta, right? So ta is you, male, right? It's also for females in the sense of she, but we will get to that in a separate dars, because it will get complicated here because we don't have a visual aid to put both of them together. But when you're speaking to somebody, it can kind of tell that we're not using it in the form of she, but rather we're using it in the form of you, male. And then when there are times that we're speaking about like she or her, like where is she? What is she doing? These things, you could tell that we're referring to a female. So when the time comes, we'll get into that. But for now, just pay attention to the verb itself, teskunu. Right? Aina teskunu. Where do you reside? Right? And the response here, eskunu. Right? So we have, you see the words, there's a common trait in these two words here, which is the sin, the kaf, and the nun. Sakana. As I said, the asl of the word, the origin of the word is sakana. Right? Sakana, which means he resided. Right? So, aina taskunu, where do you reside? Where do you live? Askunu, the a is for I. So there's the next thing you have to write. So you have to have a page for verbs, you have to have a page for nouns, and you should have a page for domair. Domair, which is pronouns. Right? The pronouns that we have learned so far is, for example, anta, anti, hiya, huwa, ana. Right? Those are the pronouns you learned so far. So, and we've also learned that the pronouns that we add to the front of the verb. And we've learned some pronouns that we add to the end of the nouns. Like, for example, kaf. For example, ya for possession. For example, ha for saying this is his. Right? So these things should be in your book. If you don't have that in a book, you're going to forget it. You're just going to forget it. Right? What I would do, I would try to because maybe some of you all haven't written it down. So what I would do, throughout the week, I'll probably write down all the verbs and words that we have so far, and I'll section it out in a way so you guys could follow suit, inshallah. You know, I don't want to make it too overburdened for you to have to look through everything and try to find everything. I'll try to write out everything that we learned so far. It's not that much, and you guys write it in your own notebooks and refer to it ever so often. Right? So askunu, the a is for I. Right? Askunu, fi means in, as we know. Hayil matar. Hayil matar. Hay means like neighborhood. Right? It refers to neighborhood in this area, in this case. Hayil matar. Matar is the airport. Right? So it's weird in a sense because we don't really say that in English. Right? We don't say neighborhood matar. Right? But they use the word hay here to refer to like a district as well, right? To a district or this area that people live in, right? A place that people live in, which is normally a district, right? So Hayy al-Matar, like the airport district, for example, right? Or the airport neighborhood, for example, right? So where this guy lives, he lives in the area, like for example in Trinidad we have Piaco, right? This is a district that's or this is an area where is closest to the airport. If someone said they live in Piaco, we know they live in close to the airport, right? This is how they say that, right? They say they live in Hayy al-Matar. Hayy al-Matar, which is, we know this is the area that's closest to the airport. Okay? وَأَيْنَ تَسْكُنُ أَنْتَ, right? وَأَيْنَ تَسْكُنُ أَنْتَ, and where do you live? We know the letter wa means and. Aina means where. Teskunu means you reside. And anta, right? We don't need to say anta. But it's because it's extra words. Aina teskunu. If I say wa aina teskunu, this is a complete sentence in and of itself. Complete, correct, complete. But if I say aina teskunu anta, is fine. As I said, the book does that in the beginning to allow you to associate the verbs with some certain verbs with words, right? And certain nouns with other pronouns and stuff like that, right? So they want you to associate certain things. So aina taskunu anta, or aina taskunu ant, even you heard it in the audio, he said aina taskunu ant. And then he responds again, askunu fi hayil jami'ah. Right? Askunu fi Hayy al-Jami'ah. Right? He resides in the Hayy al-Jami'ah, in the district where the Jami'ah is. The Jami'ah is university. Right? Jami'ah. Fi Hayy al-Jami'ah. Hal taskunu fil bayt. Alright, so we know the word hal is a questioning word, is essentially a question mark. Hal And then we have taskunu. Hal taskunu, do you live? Fi, we have fi like in. Bait, we don't have al bait. Notice that we don't have al bait, but rather we just have bait. Why do we have bait? Because just like in English, if I were to speak to you, I say, do you live in a house? I wouldn't say, do you live in the house? Just like that, right? I could say that. But if I ask you a question, like if I just met you for the first time, and I'm asking you about where your living conditions are, what it's like, and stuff like that, do you live in a house? Do you live in a house? All right? And the response would be yes or no. I live in a house, right? If I put alif lam makes this thing ma'ruf. It makes this thing known. It makes this thing ma'ruf, right? Ma'ruf, which means known, right? Easy way to think about it is like, for example, al-khaliq and khaliq. Khaliq is creator. Al-khaliq is the creator, right? Likewise, this al is associated with all nouns. If you put al on any noun, it will be the of whatever that noun is. Right? Okay, so هل تسكن في بيت؟ هل تسكن في بيت؟ Okay. هل تسكن في بيت؟ And then we have Ahmed who says نعم أسكن في بيت. نعم, as I told you before, when we have this questioning word هل, right? We have to respond to that first before we get into the sentence. We say نعم or لا. نعم or لا. We say yes or no. هل تسكن في البيت؟ هل تسكن في بيت؟ نعم أسكن في بيت. Yes, I live in a house. Right? وهل تسكن في بيت? This person is asking the other person now. لا أسكن في شقة. لا أسكن في شقة. There's a new word here. شقة. And I advise that you write it down. شقة means apartment. Right? شقة means apartment. In Saudi they say شقة, but obviously we're not gonna use any lahja here or slang here. We're using it how it's supposed to be, saying how it's supposed to be said. And then the person asks ma, and we know ma means what? رقم, which means number. شقتك. ما رقم شقتك? Right? What's your apartment number? What is your apartment number? Notice if for the people who use Pimsleur, they will be familiar with this. In Arabic, the description of something comes after the thing. So this, like for example, we say a beautiful house, right? A beautiful house, for example. In Arabic you say Bayt Jamil. Bayt Jamil. You say Jamil afterwards, right? Raqam is the thing that we're referring to, and we're referring to it of the raqam of a shaqqa. Raqam shaqqa. But in this case is actually mudaf ilay, which is saying that this possesses this thing, right? So the shaqqa, the apartment, possesses this number. For example, we have Sayfullah, sword of Allah. You say Sayfullah because Allah possesses this sword, right? For example, we have Baytullah. We have the house of Allah, Baytullah, because Bayt is possessed or owned by Allah Azza wa Jal. This Bayt is owned by Allah Azza wa Jal, the house of Allah. We have, in this case, Raqmu Shaqqatik. Right? Why here we don't have Alif Lam is probably the question. Because we have, for example, if I say Baytullah, we have Alif Lam there, Allah is Ma'ruf. The reason why is because the kaf, this kaf here makes this word known as well. Putting a dhamir on a noun is one of the ways of making a noun Ma'ruf. Right? Putting a dhamir which is a pronoun, on a noun is one of the ways of making that noun Ma'ruf, making that noun known. Right? Just like we have in English, known and unknown. For example, if I were to say, this is the apartment. This is a known thing, right? The apartment is known. This is a or an apartment. This is an apartment, right? An apartment is what? This is unknown. This is an apartment. Like, you know, there's an apartment and that's an apartment, right? Or if I were to say there's an apple and there's an apple, there's an apple. If I speak an apple, this is the apple. This is the apple we were talking about. This is the apple, right? This is the apple. So we're speaking about something known. This is something known. There's known and unknown. That's something, a grammatical thing in English. Likewise, is there in Arabic. If I say this is his apartment. This is his apartment. I didn't say the word the there. Notice that. But it still made it known because we're speaking about a specific apartment. This is his apartment. This is your apartment. This is your room. Right? This is the room. Speaking about a specific thing. There's a room. If you're speaking of this a room, there's a apartment, this is a house, you know, that's not specific. That's general. But if I say this is the apartment, this is the house, this is the room, it's known. It's not it's not general, it's specific. If I were to say this is his apartment, this is his room, this is his house, this is your house, this is my house. These, put in that pronoun there, my, his, your, their, these pronouns make that noun known. Likewise, in Arabic, if I were to put the letter kaf, which it means your, on the noun, it makes the noun known. In this case, we have رقم شقتك. رقم شقتك. Inshallah, if anybody have any questions on that grammatical rule, we will go through it, inshallah. We're not really stressing on grammatical rules that much in the beginning of book 1, but we will get into it in book 2 and stuff like that. But we will touch on it because these are like some basic grammatical rules, and we will have some examples here in the book that would allow you to practice and get more familiar with them. All right. And then he says خمسة وما رقم بيتك. He says تسعة. Right. So what's the number of your house? And he says تسعة. Okay. Any questions there on that? And the sisters also, if they want to have any questions, they can also ask. But ask on I'll leave soon. Just give them a chance to ask. They could ask afterwards, actually. Or they could ask via the group as well. But any brothers, any questions? Okay. All right. So now we go into the pictures here. So the pictures here, we see bait, right? We see shaqqa, right? We see raqam. We see raqam. We see hay, right? This looks like a neighborhood, right? That's what it's supposed to be, like a neighborhood or a district. That's what it's supposed to be. All right. We have yaskunu. This picture is not really the best picture for that, but it's supposed to refer to this person residing in this place here, right? We have la. We didn't learn la yet. We learned na'am. We didn't learn la yet. La means no. Matar, which is an airport. And we have jami'ah, which is the university. So matar, al-matar is the airport, al-jami'ah, the university, right? Any questions on that? Okay. Make sure to write these things down, by the way. This here will be for homework. I'll send you homework in. I'll send you homework in today. You know, I didn't want to send it in yesterday because I knew I was going to have another class today. And if I send the homework in yesterday and then we do class and then we have some homework sent in and then I sent some messages for starting of class, the old homework for last class will be lost, right? And then it would be, some people will be doing the old one, some people will be doing the new one, and we don't want that, right? So that's why I didn't send the homework in yesterday. All right. Moving on to the other hiwar. What I will do, I will use the audio again to get you all familiar with using the audio. Okay, so going back here, first I will play it. Apparently my wife would she would hear it, and her thing would hear it, but you guys won't hear it. No, because it would clash. The audios would clash. No, just wait. I'll play it first, and then I will just point at this stuff. Huh? No, I'll play mine first, so the sisters would hear. That's fine. They can hear from your screen?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so they're gonna play it now. So listen here. Bismillah. Second one.
الوحدة
No,
الثالثة.
not the second one. That's the muffler.
السكن. الدرس 20.
الحوار الثاني. انظر
Okay.
واستمع.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.
أريد شقة من فضلك.
لدينا شقة جميلة.
كم غرفة في الشقة؟
في الشقة 5 غرف.
في أي دور الشقة؟
الشقة في الدور الخامس.
أريد مشاهدة الشقة.
تفضل، ادخل. هذه هي الشقة.
هذه شقة جميلة.
Alright.
والآن جاء دورك.
So they said in the audio هذه هي الشقة, but here it has هذا باب الشقة. هذا باب الشقة. Alright. So that's just a little mistake on their part. But don't worry too much about that. هذا باب الشقة. Alright. So that's that. I'll go through it now, explaining what that was. This here was a حوار بين المستأجر ومؤجر. مستأجر والمؤجر. What is that? المستأجر is a person who is seeking rent, right? The rentee, for example, a person who's seeking to rent a place, a مستأجر, right? And المؤجر is a person who rents, a person who rents places, a landlord, so to speak, or a landlady, a مؤجرة or مؤجرة, as you would say. If you're speaking, you would say مؤجرة, ending on that. A مؤجرة is the right way to write it, with a ta مربوطة if you're talking about a female. المستأجرة is also for female, right? Ta مربوطة. Remember that, sisters. So here we have let's raise the brightness up a little bit. We have here Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam, tahiyya, which is salutations. Now we have another new verb, urid, right? The mustajir, he says uridu shaqqatan min fadlik. Uridu means I want, right? Or I desire. I desire or I want. Uridu shaqqatan, I want. Is realize it doesn't say al, because he's just asking for a general apartment. I want an apartment. Alright, I want an apartment. Alright, I want an apartment. Uridu shaqqatan min fadlik. We have min fadlik. Min fadlik is a phrase for saying please, right? If I want to say I want something, please, urid shay'an min fadlik. I want something, please, right? So shay min fadlik is one of the ways to say thank you. There's also law samaht. Law samaht, if you want to write that down. Law samaht, it goes like this. Law samaht. Alright. Law samaht, which is a very common way to say please in Saudiya. Min fadlik is also is known, it's common. not as common as min fadlik. So we have here لدينا. So again, أريد means I want. Again, look at the hamza, the alif and the hamza there in the beginning. أريد شقة من فضلك. Okay. We have here لدينا شقة جميلة. لدينا شقة جميلة. لدينا is a new word for us as well. Alright. لدينا means we have. We have. Okay? We have. So لدينا, we have. شقة جميلة. We have a beautiful apartment. Alright? Again, there's no alif lam. There's no alif lam, so this means that this is nakira. This is not a ma'ruf. Another way to know that is nakira is this tanween at the end here. The tanween at the end here. These things indicate that this word here is nakira. You would never see a tanween on a word as ma'ruf. Never, ever, 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 ever see a tanween on a word as ma'ruf. You would see only one haraka. Next, لدينا شقة جميلة. So he asks, كم غرفة في الشقة? كم غرفة في الشقة? So كم means how many, right? Or how much, or how many, right? How many غرفة? How many room? So in Arabic, they say it like this. How many room? In Trinidad, that's what we speak to. How many room do I have? Right? How many men in there? You don't say how many men are in there. You know, we don't really talk like that. So strange enough, in Arabic, they speak like that as well. How much man down there? How much, you know, how much thing you have there? You know? Much things you have there. Now we don't really speak like that, right? So that's one of the easier things to remember. So how much or how many? Kam. There's a new word here. How much or how many? So write that down. Kam, how much or how many? غرفة, room. في الشقة, في الشقة, في الشقة. كم غرفة في الشقة? كم غرفة في الشقة? Okay, we have here the response. في الشقة, في الشقة 5 غرف. This here, غرف, غرفة. غرف is the plural of the word غرفة. This is our first jama'. This is our first plural word that we have learned so far. Okay, so be sure to write that down. If you how I would advise that you write this down is that wherever you write the word غرفة, write a dash next to it, a dash, and then put the word غرف. Right? Because this is the first plural word that we have learned, and you could put a P there. The better thing to do is put a jim to mean jama. Alright? That's how it's seen in the dictionaries. You know? So كم غرفة في الشقة في الشقة في الشقة 5 غرف. In the apartment, notice alif lam has come here. Alif lam has come here. Why? Because now we're speaking about something specific. Before he was asking for a house, I mean a apartment. Can I get an apartment? You know? Then he go on to say, you know, okay, we have a beautiful apartment, and then he starts speaking about the apartment. When he starts speaking about the apartment in particular, then they start using alif lam. So notice that. Okay, you will see that a lot in the Quran. alif lam, ma'ruf, and it makes the difference. It makes all the difference when someone's speaking about something ma'ruf and when someone's speaking about something nakira. When someone's speaking about something specifically or something generally. When someone's speaking about something known and unknown. It makes all the difference. Alright? So fi shaqqa khamsu huruf. Right? We learned some numbers already. If you notice, this is one of the numbers here. Khamsu huruf. Alright? We have two forms of numbers. We say khamsatun and khamsu. Right? So khamsatun is because that's a female version of the word khamsa. Inshallah, I'll get into adad wa ma'dud, like the number and the thing that's being counted, inshallah. But for now, we will just take it for how it is. The mustajir, al-mustajir, he says, fi ay dawrin al-shaqqa. Fi ay dawrin al-shaqqa. Alright? Fi ay. So we have the word fi. We know this already. Fi means in. This word ay is new. Ay means which. Alright? So in which you would normally, in English you would say on which, but how to look at it? In this case, it's just how it is. Fi ay, like this, they say in which, right? If you say ala ay, I think they will still understand. If I say it, I'm pretty sure they would understand. As a matter of fact, that's probably how I would say it. I would say ala ay dawrin al-shaqqa. You know, I would say on what floor is the shaqqa, right? But they say in which, you know, and it's not a big deal in speaking, but in writing it may be something to pay attention to. So I would advise you pay attention to that. في أي دور. Dawr means floor. Dawr means floor. Right? في أي دور الشقة. في دور الشقة. في أي دور الشقة. And then we have here الشقة في دور الخامس. الشقة في دور الخامس. The apartment is in or on دور الخامس. دور الخامس. Right? الشقة في دور الخامس. The shaqqa is on the 5th floor. Right? Notice the similarity between the word khamsu and the word al-khamis. Right? Al-khamis is the 5th, and you have alif lam there to see the. Khamis is 5th, the 5th. Al-khamis. Khamsu is 5. Al-khamis is the 5th. Right? In the Pimsleur audios, one of the things that would help you a lot with saying the tarakib, which is the order of things, like, you know, the general order. Like if I say first, the second, the third, al-awwal, al-thani, al-thalith, al-rabi', those, the one that the Pimsleur audio that helps a lot with that is actually the one that speaks about time. Right? The one that speaks about time aids you a lot with learning and practicing those that tarakib, those order numbers. Say in the 5th, okay, you say it's to the 5th hour, or it's the 3rd hour, or something like that. It will say a lot like that. As-sa'a thalitha, or nisf, something like that. As-sa'a khamisa wa rub'. You know, it even speaks about parts, right? So if you want to practice your numbers and stuff like that, speaking wise, listening wise, please use the Pimsleur. Alright. Then we go here, uridu. This word comes again. Uridu means I want or I desire. Uridu mushahadat al-shaqqa. Uridu mushahadat al-shaqqa. I want the word mushahada. It sounds similar to anybody, like, you know, it sounds familiar to anybody. Alright?
No.
What it sound like?
Shahada.
Exactly. It sounds like shahada. Mushahada it sounds like shahada because it comes from the same word. All right, it comes from the same word, shahada, which means to view something, or to observe something, or to see something, right? Or not to see something, but to view something, the viewing of something, right? And also shahada is like that's my view, like, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, like that, right? Declaring that as your view, right? So uridu mashahadat ash-shaqqa, I want to see the shaqqa, right? I want to see the shaqqa. You could also say uridu mushahadat at-tilfaz, I want to watch TV, right? I want to watch something. Mushahada is also watch, all right? Right? So in this case here is like viewing the shaqqa, all right? And then the mu'ajjir, the person who is the landlord here, is saying tafaddal, like to go ahead, or to come, or come, but it's a very nice way to say come. It's not like saying ta'al, it's tafaddal. Tafaddal is there's some karam, there's some ihtiram, there's some respect there when someone says tafaddal. Or for a female, they will say tafaddali, like come in, tafaddali, not ta'alay, ta'alay for a female, which means to come, come, or ta'al, yalla, for a male. Tafaddal is a lot of karam, ihtiram, is a lot of generosity there, and there's a lot of respect there when someone speaks like that. Udkhul, this is our first amr. This is our first command verb. So you want to write the word command verbs and put udkhul there. Udkhul is our first command verb. What is a command verb? Similar to the most famous verb in Arabic, iqra, right? Iqra. Notice how it sounds. Udkhul, iqra. It's in that state of sukoon at the end, and it's starting with an alif, right? The reason why is because those words are command words. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, right? Read, as a command verb. So in Arabic, we don't have we have future tense, but in English, we say we have past tense, present tense, future tense. We have future tense, but the future tense is not in the state of one, like a verb. Like the verb is not just future tense, like a future tense verb, right? We add something onto the verb to make it future tense, right? But in English, we have future tense. Like for example, we say, actually, I think even in English, we added something on. I will enter, or will, will. So here we have udkhul, which means enter. It is a command to enter. Even though we say in command in English, the word command may have a negative connotation. All right, someone hear the word command and you're thinking this means something bad, right? But there are some ad'iyah, there's some dua, there's some duas as we say in English. There's some ad'iyah that we say to Allah Azza wa Jal that have command words in them, and you can't command Allah, right? Like in English, in an English sense, you can't command Allah, but it's not a command in that sense. It's asking for something, for someone to do something, right? It's asking someone to do something. All right, so it's called command verbs because amr, which translates to command, but is not really in the sense that where English speakers think about the word command. And that's why some people say you can't really translate Arabic to English completely. It's not possible to translate and to capture the meaning of every single language by translations, right? That's the reality. So you see how much things I had to explain there just for that one word, for you to understand. It don't really mean a command like come in, right? But it means to like come in, come in, تفضل, udkhul, It's not command as in like as we know command to be in English. but that's how it is. Command verbs. They're known as command verbs. And then we have hada, which we know it means this. And we have a new word here, bab. Bab. Right? Bab al-shaqqa. Bab al-shaqqa. So bab, it means door. Bab means door. It could also mean gate. It could also mean gate. Right? Because like, for example, we say abwab al-jannah. Right? The gates of Jannah. Abwab, which is the jam', the plural of bab. Abwab al-jannah. Right? So we have bab al-shaqqa. Bab al-shaqqa, which means the door of the shaqqa. And I'll go to the picture so you can see it. Look at that. Udkhul hadha bab al-shaqqa. And then the mustajir, the person who rents, it says هذه شقة جميلة. هذه شقة جميلة. This is a beautiful shaqqa. Right? Just speaking generally, you know. If I was to say this is the beautiful shaqqa, this is the beautiful apartment, I'm speaking about it specifically. But even in English, you wouldn't say it like that. Like if I come inside a place, I say this is a beautiful house, but it's a very nice house. Very nice house. I say A, right? Which means something general. It's just something general. Something general and something unknown. We're saying something unknown and general. This is a beautiful house, but it's a very nice house. Very nice house. It's a very nice car, but this is the nice car. This is the nice house. We're speaking about something specifically. Like if I tell someone, this is the nice house I was talking about. This is the nice car I was talking about. This is the nice thing I was looking at. You know, for example. All right. Any questions on that?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I don't have a question, but on the one above that, I was just looking at it, and it's a little bit confusing. The top left, no, not the conversation.
Okay.
Below the top left picture, you have, to me, like 2 apartments, and one's supposed to be a number.
This one here and this one here, right?
Yeah.
All right.
No. The two, remember, the one on the left.
The one on the left. So here, right?
No, go up.
Go up.
No, sorry, down.
Go down. All right.
That picture right there. They're gone too far.
Okay. This one. Okay. The homework. The homework.
So it has 2 apartments on the top left hand, but one's supposed to be number. So I'm a little bit confused there.
Okay. Jazakallah khair. Yeah. That is a mistake that they have in the book here. Okay. Because it says Ahsant Bala Tawfiq. Ahsant Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Alright, so they have here, there's one of the there's a mistake in the book here. Jazakallah khair. The homework here, it says Raqm and then it says Shaqqa. So the brother, he was mentioning that the word Raqam, it means number, and Shaqqa means apartment. But the pictures are actually 2 pictures of apartments, right? We have our apartment inside of our apartment and outside of our apartment. So this one, leave it out, because this whole question is wrong, right? But yeah, that is a great observation. Jazakallah khair. I actually would save that. So next time I do this book, I would be sure to remember that. Okay. طيب. So next, based on that, we have basically completed the 2 conversations here, and we're going to go to the mufradat. And before I give you the homework for that one as well, I would actually check this homework to see if it have any mistakes like that as well. What do you do? No, it's good. Ghurfa, dawr. Okay. Ghurfa. Alright, this one here is also a bit confusing because it says ghurfa. Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh.
Yeah, I know. I mean to cut you off, so you was asking if anybody had any question, and when he answered, you just went on. So I was waiting for you to,
No, no
to ask again.
Go ahead, no, it's no problem at all.
When if we go to the exercise that we read before the passage, where the word is for that when he asks for the apartments, right? And you say we have, right?
Right, Ladena.
Yeah, right. I just wanted to know that I know we use Lee and thing before, if I remember good and thing.
Yeah, we
right.
Lee as well.
Is those phrases, is that is you could interchange them? Did they seem like Lee and these different things?
Great question.
Like you could interchange them?
Great question. Jazakallah khair. So for example, Barakallahu Feek, Brother Musa, he was mentioning that we have other ways of saying I have, like for example saying li or ladayya, or to say indi, all of those are ways to say I have. Grammatically, they do have some differences. I didn't go into the grammatics of it, the qawaid of it yet, because I'll be a little bit too advanced. But even when using one of the things, for example, I came across a while ago, is that saying like li and ladayya and indana, some of them refer to things that you have for a portion of time, and some of them refer to things that you have for a long time. What do I mean by that? For example, I have a sister, right? Like ladayya ukht, or indi ukht rather, indi ukht. Right, I have a sister, or li ukht, I have a sister. Then if I were to say I have an exam, ladayya ikhtibar, right? Ladayya ikhtibar, I have an exam, is something that it doesn't last. It's there for a time. I have an exam, the exam will come and it will pass. We have an apartment, the apartment will be there and it will pass. But if I say indi or li, is something I would stay there for a while, right? But in usage, in reality, in usage, not even Arabs know that. Some Arabs don't even know that. It's really like, the thing is, one of the things that I noticed is that when you're learning a language, you just end up learning more than a native speaker in their language about rules of usage of certain words, because they're just using words how they grew up hearing it, right? So it's just kind of is whatever. But if you ask someone to explain in English certain things, like onomatopoeia or phonetics or something like that, or why night with a K silent, stuff like that, and why night with a NIG, like things like this, you will notice that some people don't understand that. So the point I'm trying to make is that even though there is a slight difference between ladayya, indi, li, the difference is so small and minute and so unknown that is not a problem if you swap them around. You can swap them around if you like. Okay. You can swap them around if you like. Somebody asked a question from the sisters. I don't think that question is an error. I think the raqam, he speaks to the raqam of the dawr. The raqam of the dawr. Which one here? No, because if you notice here on the sister side, there isn't any raqam here. My finger. Oh. There's any raqam here. This is inside of a house. This is outside of a house. But then if we go to the pictures here that we have above, this here is the word for shaqqa. Right? This is the word for shaqqa. So if this is the word for shaqqa, if this is the picture that they associate with shaqqa, then this would have to be the picture for raqam. But that is not really a number, is it? Is a ghurfa, is a room. So this is a ghurfa, and this one is a shaqqa, based on the information that they gave us up here. Barakallahu feek. Right. Any other questions? Okay. So this here is essentially the dawr. So now we're going to start speaking about different the different words that we just learned, the different mufradat that we just learned here. So this here is the dawr al-awwal, dawr al-thani, dawr al-thalith. If you notice at the end here, the numbers here of the dawr, and then you have the word dawr to refer to floor. So this is the floor number. So dawr al-awwal, dawr al-thani, dawr al-thalith, dawr al-rabi', dawr al-khamis, for example, right? Then we have here jamila. There's just some beautiful stuff to signify that this is referring to beauty. Then we have ghuraf, which means room, right? Actually no, ghuraf, sorry, means rooms. That's why this word is here, because we learned ghurfa before, but we didn't learn rooms yet. This one is rooms here. So you look at this, there's a room here, there's a room here, there's another room here. That's green, is yeah, I should be able to see that. There's another room here, there's another room here. We'll refer into that. Then we have tafaddal, which is to say like go ahead or come with me or stuff like that, right? Just like the brother was asking my question, I said tafaddal, right? There's a nice way to say, you know, go ahead, no problem, or come with me or something like that. All right, mushahada. Mushahada is to view something, to watch something, right? To view or to watch something. Uridu, you have this guy here basically putting his hand out saying like he wants something or he desires something, like I want you to do something, uridu. And then we have dawr al-khamis, so they highlighted the fifth dawr, the fifth floor, the fifth dawr al-khamis, and it's showing that. And then we have yadkhulu, right? Yadkhulu, this guy's entering, right? Entering his house. And then we have bab to signify this is a door. Okay. And then the exercise here at the bottom. Yeah, this also have a mistake, because I mean it could be a mistake, it could not, because this here would be ghurfa. This here would be ghurfa, which don't really make sense, does it? This here is ghurfa. Ghuraf, rather ghuraf. Well, is ghuraf means rooms, and these are doors that refer to rooms, so you can look at it like that, right? Ghuraf, which is rooms, and these are some doors here referring to different rooms. So nah, it's okay. And this one at the bottom here is dawr, which is the entire floor. Okay. Tafaddal, this means to go ahead or come with me. Jamil, right? And mushahada. Alright, so I'll send that as homework as well, inshallah. There's some easy stuff there. It's just like matching the pictures with the thing. There's another conversation here, but we will leave that conversation for next time. Any other questions on the stuff?
Sheikh, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh.
The question, so the way to spell in dawr, the same way you say ja dawruk, same dawr.
Yeah.
Because I know in that context it's your turn.
Yeah.
But same dawr.
Yeah, same spelling. Yeah, ja dawr.
Okay.
I mean, well, yeah. And that's similar to English. How we have well, in Arabic they have a lot of that. They have ayn, which mean eye, and then we have ayn that means source, and then we have ayn that mean like a water source, right? Right. So ayn means source, like in general, like if you're talking about the source of something, the ayn of something, the ayn of the tornado, for example, right? And then we have ayn that refers to a water source, right? Those are some words, for example, I have similar spelling, similar pronunciation, but different in meaning. For example, another one is like dafa'a, which means to defend, and dafa'a, which means to pay, right? Is different. Like he paid or defended, right? Dafa'a would be defended, and dafa'a, which also means paid, right? So even though it have similar spelling, similar sound, is different words. We have it in English as well. Like for example, we have the spelling of bow and bow, right? I have bow and we have bow. Like for example, we have night and we have night. You know, even though spelling is the same for bow and bow, but there's different sounds. Yeah, that's off the top of my head there, but barakallahu fiqh for that observation for sure. Any other questions on anything?
The word that it has for floor, it for some reason Google Translate it keeps putting away for it. I was wondering if there have any correlation between floor and away.
So one of the things that Google Translate as well, if you put the word by itself, if you put the word by itself, sometimes it wouldn't recognize what you want to say, right? So like for example, as I was just saying, like it have different meanings of words. If I just say like night, like just like that, like sometimes or if I just write the word bow, for example, I write BOW in Google Translate and I want to translate it to English, it may see it as bow, or it may see it as bow, as a bow I would put on my shoelace or something like that, right? Or a bow that I referring to a bow on my head, on a female's head, right? So now that's where you have to put it in a sentence. If I put the word bow in a sentence, like if I say there's a bow on the table, right? Now if I write that into Google Translate, it would recognize that I'm speaking about the actual item, a bow, as opposed to the action of bowing, right? So now so there's where Google Translate comes in. Like you have to write sentences in Google Translate to get it to translate how you want. So if you were to write maybe الدور الخامس, for example, this, it might say fifth floor. Actually, it would say like would say fifth floor. But if you just write daur by itself, it could come out as turn away. I'm not sure what away, but yeah, like that.
Okay.
Was another thing with regard to that. So take, even though I was saying to you Google Translate as well, use, like, remember in the class here I'm gonna basically explain the meanings of all the words, right? So you need to write it down as fast as you can, like because I've seen it there and I kind of specifying on it. I'm speaking about it for a little bit. Write it down, the meaning of that word, so that way inshallah you would actually have the correct meaning there, as opposed to relying on the Google Translate. The Google Translate is like a helpful tool to help people who obviously not in class right now, but everybody's supposed to be watching the videos, right? Everybody's supposed to be watching the videos at least. So that way you will learn and have the correct vocabulary and the meanings of the words. And the Google Translate just to help you out along the way. But don't rely on it. If you rely on it, you might end up getting stuff like that, which is a good point. Jazakallah khair. Any other questions?
Yeah, Mohandisa. And
okay. Mohandisa is engineer.
Yeah.
And
Madorisa, and another. I've seen another word with we use teacher as well, but same female that way.
Muallim. Muallima.
Muallima.
Right, muallima, mudarrisa. Like for example, a mudarrisa is a person who works in a school, a madrasa. A muallim is a person that could work in a school, but also is more used in circles of ilm. Circles of ilm. What I mean by circles of ilm, like Islamic ilm. Muallima, a muallim. Yeah, muallim. Is like more used in circles of ilm, of Islamic knowledge. It could be used either way. But I'm talking about where it's more commonly used, right? In that case,
I understand
yeah, no problem. No problem. Ask. As I really urge everybody to ask questions. Ask questions because, it's a common there's a common saying in Arabic that two people don't learn: the person who is like prideful and the person who's shy. The person who's shy doesn't learn, and the person who's prideful doesn't learn, because the person who's prideful, they think they know everything, and the person who's shy, they're too shy to ask anything, you know. So those two people don't ever learn. So, you know, don't be mustakbir and don't be mustahi, you know, like ask.
As I write along in making my own dictionary now, I realize I come
Yeah,
across the teacher
alhamdulillah, that's one of the best things. That's the best thing. Have your dictionary, have your own dictionary, basically writing all the
I was wondering if I'm making a wrong word now.
Nah, alhamdulillah, that's great. Alhamdulillah, really happy to hear that. All right. Anything else? All right. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت وأستغفرك وأتوب إليك. The sisters, I will leave now, so the sister could ask my wife